Good evening and welcome to Have a Seat with Chris Hansen. I am Chris Hansen and I've been a reporter for 40 years, have chased predators online for 2 decades now, and very seldom have I been as disturbed by a story as I am about this one we're going to bring you tonight. Parents, family members, exploiting their own children in horrible ways online, sexually, emotionally, financially. It's a story that I've collaborated with our friend Weist to bring to you tonight, and it's eye-opening. Perhaps you've seen some of the examples, some of the young women online, scantily clad, sexually arousing to predators who watch and pay money. But how does this happen, and why? And who's being damaged by it? Weist joins us now. Wes, thanks for your help on this story. Thanks for collaborating. Have you ever seen anything quite like this?
Actually, I have. In the early 2000s, there were some websites. A law actually had to be made about it that were preteen modeling websites put up by parents, and they would have children as young as 6 in thongs and other type lingerie, and they weren't nude, but it was determined that it did count as illegal images because of the fact it was made to arouse specific people. And they actually ended up taking people to prison over this. There were raids and parents were fined. It was a big deal. And so I kind of thought that was the end of it. And I had no idea this was still going on.
So many issues here: child porn, the exploitation of children for financial gain, attracting predators to watch, and creating drama and harm to a child. Let's take a look.
Guys, she is 12 years. 8. Guys, she is 14. I'm reading all these comments.
I don't know. He just
4.
On September 8th, 2021, I sent Jennifer Archambault, Danielle Cohn's mother, an email requesting an interview. The following was her response.
Dear Weist, following your email dated September 8th, 2021, requesting an interview with me on a story about my acquaintance with Danielle Cohn, I wish to state me, Danielle's mother, Jennifer Archambault, acting on behalf of Danielle, a minor, and I personally, on my behalf, do not accept in any way our videos or names to be used in any of your videos on any social media or video platforms.
15-year-old Danny shares racy photos.
My followers like a certain thing.
He gets paid $10K to post a bikini.
$10,000 for
Yeah.
that?
It is in our considered opinion that the publication of said content may be harmful to us both socially and psychologically.
Danny, show them your body so they can be quiet.
And therefore, we do not give consent for you to post whatever information or videos you have on us.
You know where I live, so come to my place, bitch.
The right to control images ourselves is a basic right, and we are entitled to protect it.
Never in my life did I want to be famous. Do you want me to expose you? Oh, I'm just kidding.
Therefore, in the event you choose to ignore our rights to refuse to give consent to your publications, we will be forced to pursue legal action.
I'm sorry that your parents don't let you wear revealing clothes, but my mom has no problem with it, and so I'm gonna wear what I want to wear.
Regards, Jennifer Archambault. This is my little girl, Danielle. Say hi, Danielle.
Guys, it's your girl, Danielle Cohn.
I just knew she was full of talent from the moment she was born. Here she is, about to sing when she was just 6 years old. She also did cheerleading, dancing, and beauty since as long as I can remember. Shh, hold on. This one is my favorite. Danielle was only 9 or 10 here. Isn't she precious? It may not look like much, but within a year of posting this video, I would quit my job to manage Danielle's career full-time. We also moved from Florida to Los Angeles so Danielle could pursue her dreams and become a star. How cool for Danielle. 11 years old and already financially responsible for her family. If you listen to her dad, former classmates, the mountains of evidence, or that certified Florida birth certificate, Danielle was born in 2006. And I may or may not have done a little fudging of the numbers to make my pumpkin 2 years older, but I'll never tell. Besides, if her 19-year-old boyfriend, Mason Patterson, doesn't care she is 15, why should you? Am I doing the right thing? Well, almost 30 million total followers and millions of dollars later, I can safely say I did. Does Danielle sometimes have to push the envelope a bit? Maybe. After all, you're only 15, 17 once. It's worth it. Look at me hogging the spotlight. Danielle, don't just sit there, honey. Tell them all about your Onlyfans.
Hi guys, so today I'm going to be explaining to you guys why I have an OnlyFans, what made me make it, basically just all of that. I'm also going to share what I post on there.
At the age of 11, Danielle became the main breadwinner for her family after blowing up on Musical.ly, the precursor to TikTok. By the age of 12, Danielle was dating a 17-year-old boy with her mother's approval, because constant male attention is a part of the Danielle Cohn brand. Having a boyfriend is so important that out of 444 videos on her channel, 88 of them have boyfriend in the title. That's 20%. Jennifer could have easily told her own story, proved her case, and explained why any of this.
Which downtime does Danielle get?
Not much.
She don't get weekends off, or she works Monday to Sunday.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Is okay. But when I reached out with a request for an interview, she responded with threats. At least EDP just wanted money. With any luck, whoever's in charge of homeschooling Danielle has a better grasp on English than this alleged former teacher from Florida.
And I personally, on my behalf, do not accept in any way our videos or names to be used in any of your videos.
By the end of this video, I hope the names Mason Patterson, Fanfix, Bang Energy, Fashion Nova, PSD Underwear, Stripe Payments, Harry Gestetner, and Simon Pompan are just as prominent in your mind as the name Danielle Cohn. Because it is these people, companies, and brands that have allegedly been willingly profiting off the exploitation of a minor. But of course, none of that would be possible without her help, Jennifer Archambault, Danielle's mom and manager. Remember that name, because when this is all over, you will understand why there are multiple change.org petitions asking authorities to save Danielle Cohn. Jennifer Archambault is a single mother, raising her 2 children, Danielle and older brother Chad, in Sunsoak, Florida. From a very young age, Jen eyed a future in the spotlight for her little girl. Danielle would run the typical stage mom circuit of pageants, cheer, and dance. Here is Danielle in a video from 2012 posted on Jennifer's old YouTube channel introducing the world to her then 6-year-old daughter. Jennifer had big plans for Danielle, and this is where the story becomes a bit convoluted. According to Jen, Danielle joined the Musical.ly app, which would later become TikTok, without her knowledge when she was 11 years old, which means in reality, she was 9. How was she 6 in 2012, but 11 3 years later? Well, that's easy. Mind your business, hater.
No, I don't have to explain anything to anybody. I don't have to address anything to anybody. I'm living my life. My kids are living their life, and that's all that matters. Danny's not in danger, believe me.
The legend continues that by the time Jen became aware of Danielle's use of the app, she had amassed over 1 million followers and had many requests for sponsored posts coming in. Jen pretends this whole thing was out of her control, and Danielle stormed to the top of Musical.ly without her help or urging. But that is highly unlikely. This was the plan all along. In fact, according to YouTube, the Danielle Cohn channel was registered in May 2010, when Danielle was just 4 years old. Mommy's little girl was now Mommy's little cash cow, and Jen was going to cash in as soon as possible. Within 1 year of joining Musical.ly, Jennifer would quit her jobs, one of which was allegedly teaching children. And the family would move from Orlando, Florida to Los Angeles, California in March 2017. Now 11 years old, Danielle was the financial caretaker, with her mom taking on the role of manager. 6 months after moving to LA, Danielle will drop her very own branded mobile app.
I want to tell you guys about my new app called the Danny Cohn app, and there's an exclusive giveaway coming up very soon where I'm inviting a lucky fan to spend the afternoon with me at Six Flags, and the only way to win that is if you guys are in the app. And also, if you guys want to see some exclusive content, make sure to join the app.
The app was the basic free fan app, but for $4.99 per month, fans could view exclusive pictures and videos of the 11-year-old. And as an added bonus, they could post their own pictures and messages. But why would a fan app for an 11-year-old online influencer be age restricted for 17 and older?
And what is the first thing that I noticed about it? You have to be 17 years old or older to be able to download and use this app. Even though Danny claims that she's 15, even though we all know that she's 13, even if she was 15, she wouldn't even be able to use her own app.
Jen certainly wasn't worried. The app was registered under her name.
I'm living my life. My kids are living their life, and that's all that matters.
What could possibly go wrong?
But if a mother is exploiting her child for financial gain, she's nothing but a pimp. And that is unacceptable.
On November 3rd, 2017, 11-year-old Danielle played a game of Kiss, Marry, Kill with 18-year-old influencer Sebastian Bales on her YouTube channel.
It's Danielle Cohn. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be playing the Kiss, Marry, Kill game with one of my best friends, Sebastian.
Hey, what's up?
1 week later, Danielle will do a couples challenge with another Sebastian, new boyfriend, 17-year-old Sebastian Topi.
I'm here with Sebastian.
Yo, what up, guys?
Sebastian. I'm here with Jazzy.
Reminder, she was 11. On the other side of the couples challenge, 18-year-old Sebastian Bales and his partner, fellow teen influencer Jazzy G.
So basically, me and him are a couple, and they're a couple. They've been dating for 2 days now.
1 month after she turned 13. This exists. This is still on YouTube today. It has over 500,000 views, and Jen signed off on this whole thing.
Danny's not in danger, believe me.
Danielle would score a number of sponsored deals with the likes of Fashion Nova, Samsung, Live Nation, Target, and more.
Hey, how about a bang?
Where can I find one of those? A bang? What?
There are far too many issues spanning too many years to cover in one video, but channels like Dad Challenge Podcast, Spill Plug, Anna Oop, and more have been trying for years to call attention to these inappropriate videos, and they're linked in the description. In almost a blink of an eye, Danielle's content went from this,
And I'm going to be doing a question and answer from my Instagram at Danielle Cohn Official,
to this.
I love my bang. I love my bang. I love my bang.
Boyfriends would come and go with dizzying regularity. Danielle would get increasing hate over the years, but more and more people started calling out Jen for taking advantage of her daughter.
But there is the issue that she did have the boyfriends come live with them, and a lot of there's speculation that she's controlling their lives.
Jen, for her part, learned the YouTube game quickly. The clickbait titles and salacious thumbnails kept people talking. More clicks, more views, more $25,000 monthly rental houses, exotic vacations, and expensive cars. 12-year-old Danielle was now dressing like an adult, and she was attracting a whole new kind of supporter, grown men.
Danny, show them your body. So
March 2019 would bring in more controversy when first Danielle released a video that she was moving in with 16-year-old boyfriend Mikey Tua.
This is our bed where we sleep every night, so.
Now Mikey claims he was lied to about Danielle's age at the time.
The only person that was ever recurrent was Jen and Mikey, and after speaking to Mikey, it's because Danielle said she would ruin him if he ever left. And he was lied about her age in the beginning too.
A week later, things would take a dramatic turn when a former classmate of Danielle's came forward with her evidence that Danielle was 13.
She was in 4th grade in that year. Okay, hold on. 2015 to 2016, she was in 4th grade. So y'all can take your screenshots now.
The Cohn camp response? A clickbait video titled The Truth. The thumbnail suggesting Danielle was actually 11. Sure, why not? Why not take the genuine upset and concern for the many people who are worried about the sexualization of a child and troll the audience? The official excuse for Danielle being in the 4th grade in 2015? It wasn't that she was lying about her age, but this.
So basically, growing up, I had a very bad dyslexia. I don't know if you guys know what it is, but it's where you get your W's, your M's mixed up. It's where you get your B's and your D's mixed up. You can't really read very well. So I, unfortunately, had to stay back in 4th grade, and it was not very easy for me.
It's rumored that brands like Target permanently cut ties with Danielle due to the age controversy. It's also rumored that an episode of Dr. Phil never aired because Danielle was unable to provide proof of age.
15-year-old Danny shares racy photos.
My followers like a certain thing.
he gets paid $10K to post a bikini pic.
$10,000 for that?
She was barely into her teens, already supporting her family and earning a bad reputation because of her mom. What kind of lesson is Jen teaching her daughter? And in turn, what kind of example is Danielle setting for her young fans? In April 2019, Danielle and Mikey went to Las Vegas with Jen and dropped a video titled Our First Time. The thumbnail for the video featured 13-year-old Danielle climbing onto her boyfriend wearing a skin-tight miniskirt. It's clear what they were implying here.
Anyways, we wanted to record a video telling you guys about our first time. Story time / letting you guys know about our first time.
The video was a hit, scoring over 5 million views. 10 days later, on April 12th, 2019, Danielle and Mikey let the world know that they were pregnant and getting married.
Please tell me what is going on before I
Just get to
a pregnancy test. A pregnancy test.
Okay. And it's negative, right?
Negative, right?
No.
It came out
What?
positive.
Are you serious right now?
But then we
This is
Wait. Is it Mikey's? Is it at least Mikey's?
Mikey, is it?
No,
it's
no.
If it's
So
Mikey's,
when we
okay,
went surfing, there's more. This one surf, it was actually for real.
This was a 4-part series, and the T channels ate up every detail. Finally, on April 18th, after millions of views, Danielle and Mikey proudly announced during a gender reveal party sponsored by Bang Energy.
A bang? What? You're joking. This is just what I wanted. Wow.
That their baby would be
3, 2,
Pop that!
1. Oh!
It's a girl!
Wait.
Okay. Are you guys ready? This is the other kid that we're having.
Huh?
Okay.
It says,
You've
been pranked.
a hoax. Mikey and Danielle would offer apologies shortly thereafter, but Jen stayed comfortably in the background.
Because I don't like to be on camera.
This controversy led to clicks just as planned, and Danielle was the unfortunate collateral damage. The apology for the pregnancy hoax was short-lived. 4 months after this hoax in August 2019, Danielle would post another pregnancy prank, proving that nothing was learned or gained from that situation other than money.
Kind of dropping hints to my boyfriend that I'm pregnant. I'm gonna be doing it on my best friend. I'm gonna be doing it on Cam. He's like a brother to me. So if I'm dropping hints on him that I'm pregnant, he's gonna be pissed.
In September 2019, after months of complaints, paying members of the 2-year-old Danielle Cohn fan app were demanding refund. Most of the exclusive content that had been promised to VIPs never materialized, and that feature allowing fans to post images and comments for Danielle, that did not end well.
Do not download this app. I downloaded it to see why it was considered 17 plus when Danielle is only 13. One of the first things I saw when I went to the fan feed was a naked old man, absolutely disgusting. As soon as I opened the app, there were grown men off and more pictures of and a 13-year-old girl being sexualized. This app needs to be terminated, and CPS really needs to step in and give Danny's father full custody and Jen supervised visits. I don't remember which button on the bottom I clicked, but it showed a feed of posts. The first that popped up was a full-grown man on all fours, completely naked.
The app was shuttered with no warnings and no refunds, but it wouldn't be the last time Danielle Cohn and exclusive paid content would be used in the same sentence. Things were relatively quiet in Danielle's world. That is until the summer of 2020. Dustin Cohn, Danielle's dad, joined YouTube, and he had a story to tell.
Obviously, she is 14, just turned 14 on March 7th. She was born on 2006.
Dustin will prove once and for all that Danielle was born in 2006 with her birth certificate.
Here is the proof. My mom had multiple members of her family calling her constantly, screaming at her, leaving crazy messages over the fact that she told the truth.
If you doubt the authenticity of this document, I just want to add that posting a fake would be against the law. Had this not been Danielle's actual date of birth, Jen would have had Dustin jailed immediately. Instead, Danielle released her own video, slamming her dad's parenting, questioning his motivations, and making wild accusations. But not once did she provide any actual proof of her age. This video has since been privated. The next month, in July 2020, audio was leaked online of conversations between Jen, Danielle, and a family friend. The clips were allegedly leaked to expose Jen's toxic parenting style.
And this is all the shit that they're saying on there. I allowed so much that I shouldn't have allowed. And it's allowed you to be the person you become and just think it's okay to act the way you can towards me. We don't have a relationship.
Oh, can I talk?
Just forget.
The leak, however, also revealed something else.
Do this at this age. I'm letting you do that. I allowed you to have an abortion.
In January 2020, 14-year-old Danielle had found herself pregnant and later terminated the pregnancy.
Your daughter went through something beyond terrible that you, as an adult, it doesn't matter. You're the one that possibly allowed it on the internet too, because you don't know how to isolate also. I tell you a lot of things that shouldn't be on an internet with your daughter, and you're like, it got on there.
We didn't put it on. It was Ethan that started it.
Who gives a It's something that happened in your daughter's life. I don't give a about social media. You should care about what your daughter personally feels. Have you sat with your daughter and said, hey, Danny, how do you feel emotionally, what you've been through? Because no one has probably sat with her and said, hey, what are you going through?
Something that Jen would throw in Danielle's face during arguments.
You make disgusting comments about the abortion all the time.
You shouldn't. Okay. That's the worst thing.
You said to me, you were like, at least I didn't kill my child. You literally said that. You say mean shit to me.
You say that in anger.
Okay, but that's a different type of thing.
It's not, because you do the same shit to me, and then I do it back.
Me saying freaking childish insults is a difference.
No,
than
it's not.
Literally
You say a lot worse
topic
shit.
That you know that
you say a lot worse. Don't even go there.
After the news was leaked, Danielle released a video giving the details of her pregnancy. The irony isn't lost on me that a little over a year after a fake pregnancy hoax, Danielle was tearfully recounting a pregnancy that was all too real. This video has over 5 million views as well. Profit from the sad story of a little girl growing up far too fast. With Mikey, Tua, and Danielle done for good, a new boyfriend would enter the picture in 2021. The pair were claiming to be just friends until Mason Patterson kissed Danielle during an Instagram live, not realizing she was streaming.
Fucking suck.
Danny. What are you doing?
Oh!
19-year-old Mason was certainly hoping the fans who saw that illegal kiss would forget what they saw.
Just tell him to shut up and don't say
Yeah, don't say it.
Don't record that. Don't do anything. Please don't post that, please.
He's old enough to be an adult, old enough to flaunt an illegal relationship in public, but still too young to recognize the damage this could cause in his future. You don't want a prospective employer to look you up on Google only to find out that you're the guy who proudly dated a 15-year-old when he was 19. That kiss lives on the internet, and while the internet sometimes suffers from temporary amnesia, it never forgets.
Just tell him to shut up and don't say
Yeah, don't say it.
Don't record that. Don't do anything. Please don't post that, please.
Mason was asked to interview, but he too rejected the offer. I guess this will make 2 videos this year that Mason would rather didn't exist.
So today I'm going to be explaining to you guys why I have an OnlyFans, what made me make it, basically just all of that. I'm also going to share like what I post on there.
In April 2020, Danielle joined a site called FanFuel. This OnlyFans clone would give Danielle the opportunity to offer fans an intimate experience. They advertised FanFuel with clickbait edited photos to imply that newly 15-year-old Danielle was nude on the site.
I would always post swipe up links and I would like kind of cross it out with like a little thing like that. And for some reason, everyone got the impression that I was naked. So they swiped up to get it to see if I was naked. Well, I wasn't. So
she was being objectified and commodified by the woman whose one job, one goal, should be to protect her children. What is Jen afraid of? If the envelope isn't pushed, if the boundaries aren't tested, do the adult men watching in secret lose interest and take their clicks and views to the next underage influencer?
Content that she was promoting of what many people thought was definitely OnlyFans type of content. When people on social media instantly found out about this, almost everyone started to report this page as well as the website itself for allowing minors to post this type of content, which is obviously wrong whether Danielle is 15 or 17. And luckily, you guys, Danielle managed to get her page deleted just within a few days after thousands of people on social media started to report it.
After a rightful uproar, Fanfuel deleted Danielle's account with no warning. Danielle would address the ban in a video titled, "Addressing the Hate, Full Truth, Lost So Much."
I don't know what's been going on. If you didn't know, I started a Fanfuel. They had to take me off the app because people were reporting it to the police, saying I was posting nudes as a minor.
A few weeks earlier, the domain name fanfix.io would be privately registered out of California.
I've said this many times. I will have an exclusive content thing. Like, I will have that, you know, like that. I feel like that is something really, really cool to have. I feel like it allows your true fans to be able to get more content from you and to be able to purchase, you know, pictures that you've never posted, you know. It's like something really cool for them.
In the hospital with COVID, you still got me horny.
I can't believe you charge this much for no nudity.
God damn, you're so sexy. Booty so thick, I love it.
Fanfix was another OnlyFans clone. Only their minimum age for an account is 13.
Never. But I will have an exclusive thing and I will post for my followers and my supporters on there. And that's why I made a new one. I'm gonna post it soon. It's my own. It's my own. It's my own. I'm gonna make my own. When I post it, subscribe to it to get more exclusive content. But for right now, don't have one because you know I got kicked off because of people like you who want to pick me up.
Can you post some feet pics? I love your ass so much. It's incredible.
Wow, the fact that I had to pick up my mic today and realize we're still on the topic of Danielle Cohn and this OnlyFans drama makes me want to gag. This week, Danielle Cohn announced that she made a new platform on a new website that has a very similar name called Fanfix. And guys, she instantly started posting multiple photos of what many people thought was extremely inappropriate for her age. And the way that she was promoting them on her Instagram stories made it only worse for people to assume what kind of stuff she was posting.
It's almost like you're slut-shaming someone, if I'm being honest, and it's disrespectful.
According to LinkedIn, Fanfix was co-founded by a couple of college students out of California, Harry Gestetner and Simon Pompan. Remember those names too. On August 15th, 2021, Danielle made her debut on Fanfix. The pictures posted on Fanfix are extremely sexual, with tight shorts, bikinis, sleepwear, and lots of cleavage and feet pictures.
Perfect little feet and toes. More feet, please, hun.
While some fans are satisfied with what they are getting for $12 per month,
damn, I want to hit that ass. Time to nut.
There are many who are demanding more, complaining about being bait and switched.
We literally sub for no reason, this bitch not even posting.
Is Jen somehow involved with this site on the back end? Danielle did say she would have a site she couldn't be kicked off of, and they wouldn't be able to keep her money.
And that's why I made a new one. I'm gonna post it soon. It's my own, and that's why it's gonna be way better than Fanfuel because I will not have people stealing my money.
Not to mention the timing of the domain name being purchased and the lack of experience between the co-founders. It all looks suspect. The site has almost no social media presence, and they're doing next to nothing in terms of marketing. So it makes me wonder if this site wasn't built solely as a place where Danielle Cohn fans could meet up and say things like this.
Make an OnlyFans for us. Bend over in front of the camera showing this.
It's worth noting that Stripe Payment is the only authorized source both to make payments to and receive payment from Fanfix. The site is barely mentioned anywhere, and in Danielle's list of social links, you will notice Fanfix is nowhere to be found. Why hide it? If the goal is exclusive content for fans, then why does it seem like the only fans who know about it are the ones who like feet, twerking?
Let's get some twerking videos. Can you please do a twerking video?
And backyard bikini shots of a 15-year-old. It's unclear how many people are paying for this experience, but some pictures have over 200 likes, so at minimum, several hundred people are paying members. But these members are getting restless.
Get naked or at least show a boob.
I contacted the two men behind fanfics. As a matter of fact, I contacted Stripe, Bang, Fashion Nova, PSD Underwear, Mason Patterson, Jen, every social media platform, and more, and I was either ignored or blocked with one exception. PSD Underwear replied to tell me that they had never heard of Danielle Cohn and are not working with her in any way, but in this video description, she thanks them for the underwear. Before Danielle does a try-on haul for her mom so she can rate the underwear and Danielle could twerk repeatedly in her face. Not sure who the target market is for this one. Not to mention the many videos and photos and these exact sets on her fanfics account. Someone's lying here. But I ask you this. If the roles were reversed and it was Danielle's dad posting pictures like this, do you think those brands would be lining up to sponsor her videos? I don't. Dustin said it himself. He made his videos. His story made the media rounds and Danielle's age was proven, but nobody cared because he is just the dad.
The way she is posted, it worries all of us. Any of us in the family, how her family doesn't feel worried about a 14-year-old being posted in those kind of positions, in those kind of manners, dating a now 18-year-old is confusing to me.
Danielle Cohn is a minor. She is not old enough to buy spray paint in the US, but here she is, with her 30 million followers, living a life that truly hasn't been her own for a very long time. Former family friend Michael Weist claims Danielle's money is being mismanaged, and due to a lack of laws regarding child labor in YouTube, there is no guarantee that money will be there when she does turn 18. The $300,000 that was in her bank account was allegedly whittled down to less than $10,000 in just a few months. Don't take my word for it. Ask any former child star what a life of being the breadwinner for their family while growing up too fast does as they age. Choose a decade. Drew Barrymore, the Coreys, Amanda Bynes, Shia, Brittany, the list goes on and on. But as long as there is money to be made, parents are more than willing to march their children through a system designed to wring every ounce of profit out of them before casting them to the junk heap. Even with the complaints made over the years about Piper Raquel, it took pop star Pink calling out Piper's mom on Twitter for YouTube to even take notice. All of those retweets and angry comments got their attention and embarrassed them. Suddenly, several thumbnails and videos that had been reported long before were removed from the platform. Not Danielle's though. These are still perfectly fine in YouTube's eyes. But that's what it's going to take. The response has to be so loud that those brands, sponsors, and platforms have no choice but to take action. Because this isn't going to go away on its own as long as the parents and people responsible aren't being held accountable. When this ride ends and the money is spent, those pictures will be there. Those videos will be there. Those memories will be there. Because the internet is forever. Be heard, because if Jen isn't going to protect Danielle, then someone needs to protect Danielle from Jen and her legion of creepy, demanding fans.
Please listen to us. We would love to see your souls. Yes, babe. Foot goddess.
I want to eat it. If you take one thing from this video, I hope it's this. Stripe Payments, Bang Energy, Fashion Nova, PSD Underwear, Fanfics, Mason Patterson, Harry Gestetner, Simon Pompan, and of course, Jennifer Archambault. Remember those names, because I promise you, Danielle Cohn will never forget them.
For what, 5 years now? I mean, not in LA, but I've been doing this for 5 years now. And the person I was before I started this was literally like this innocent little girl who kind of had no idea about the world, thought everything was like a fairy tale and a fantasy. And here I am. That little girl would have never put a tattoo on her body, would have probably never got piercings, would never have dyed her hair red. And here I am today.
Josh Barber is the host and producer of the Dad Challenge podcast. And if you haven't watched it and listened to it, you should, because he does extraordinary work along with the rest of his collaborative team. Among the many things Josh has explored and investigated, this very issue: children being exploited, sometimes sexually, online by their parents, mostly their moms. And I started watching Josh's work. Actually, Gabrielle got onto it first and turned me onto it. And it's really remarkable. And so it really is a pleasure, Josh, to have you with us on the show and have you take a seat with me this evening. How are you?
Good. I appreciate you having me on.
Anytime. So tell me first about the Dad Challenge podcast. How did you get this started and why?
Like a high-level overview, a friend of mine and I decided to start a podcast from a dad's perspective, what it's like to be dads. We have teenage sons who are best friends, same age. And we just started talking about being dads and what it's like and different struggles that dads go through. And I'm an adopted dad. I have 2 adopted boys. And this story broke about a year and a half ago with the Micah Stauffer situation. I don't know if you've heard of that,
Sure.
Where they adopted a kid from China, made tons of money exploiting him on their channel, and it was like their biggest story. They grew to like 700,000 subscribers, then they rehomed him after it became too difficult. I talked about that from a perspective of a dad, saying this is absolutely ridiculous. I gave my honest opinion, and then my channel started growing from that point. And then I started realizing how bad family vloggers actually are, what they're actually doing. And it's been kind of a process that I've seen in an evolution of what I thought used to be acceptable to what I don't think is acceptable anymore. And I've realized that over time that these kids are being exploited for money without any protections like the Cohn law, without any norms for, child labor laws. Their privacy is being exploited online. There's things called predator playlists, which we've uncovered, and I've uncovered the analytics, which is the biggest conversation specifically when it comes to young girls and teenage girls on YouTube. And the analytics are very eye-opening.
It's shocking to me, and we've been digging around this for a while and interviewed the former agent for Danielle Cohn, obviously in this program.
Mm-hmm.
And it amazes me on many different levels. One, as a parent myself, that a parent could do this to their children. And the exploitation is on many levels. First of all, I doubt these kids in many cases are getting paid properly as if they were on a show on MTV or something. You mentioned the Cohn laws going back for, almost a century, protecting child actors.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, they're just being exploited. Talk first about this first video you got onto, this first family vlogger with the child they adopted from China and had to, or chose to, give the child up. I mean, that just gets me to the core.
It's the thing that kind of exploded this conversation. A lot of people were talking about here and there about child exploitation and how family vlogging is wrong, just on the basis that it's super fake, right? And that these kids don't get normal lives. But then Micah Stauffer steps into the scene with James. The son, I call him H because I don't want to say his real name because he has been rehomed. That's their term, not my term.
Right.
And basically what they did was they grew their platform on this kid. They made tons and tons of money. It's very lucrative to have children on YouTube. And I brought in another family vlogger at one point who had quit, and she said specifically that these ad agencies like We Agency and all these other ones, they will pay you more money if you feature your children in their ads. Okay. So she starts growing. She starts growing massively. They make tons of money. They have two Range Rovers, BMWs. They bought a brand new house. They bought
all bought on the exploitation of this poor child they adopted from China.
Exactly. And so
who
that's
had,
what
who had
exploded.
challenges in his own right as a kid.
Yeah.
Not just being adopted, but he had other challenges.
They had a brain issue. There were doctors were bouncing back and forth between what he had. And in the end, they found out that he's basically a normal kid that likely has autism that will have to be with them the rest of his life. And then we found out later, people were starting to ask questions. Where is H? Where is H? He's gone. He's gone. Then they did the tearful apology on the bed with the white and the glasses, where we all tore it apart and said, this is ridiculous. And then the police got involved.
Yeah. They adopted this child, saw that they got in over their heads, exploited it for as much money, I would guess hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions.
Yes.
And then rehomed the poor child from China.
Yeah. And again, there's some, we could talk all day long about the other thing too, that they rehomed him likely through a Facebook group. If you think about it, you funded this adoption. It's a failed adoption, which does happen. But what doesn't happen in adoption is exploiting a child for millions of dollars, then rehoming him.
Speaking of exploitation, we've been digging into the case of Danielle Cohn, teenager, now 15, who's been on the internet, being produced, managed by her mother, Jennifer Archambault, for years now. And the litany of shocking revelations goes on and on. The mother allegedly promoting sex between Danielle, underage, with somebody older, arguably conspiracy, aiding and abetting, statutory.
I'm a dad. I have a daughter. And if this was my situation, I mean, I can't believe that more people aren't in an uproar over this because of some of the things that they have done. Like you said, the exploitation, the taking of the photos, as far back as I believe that she's 11 years old. So the first thing to take into consideration is Danielle Cohn does not look her age. Okay. She's very much groomed to look a certain way. And she is being failed by not only her mother, but her entire circumference. That's her management. Those are the photographers that take the photos. That's like Bang Energy Drinks. Those are people that support her, that sponsor her, that give her the advertisement dollars that they so crave. And a lot of the times didn't know that they were lying about her age. And that, again, that's an allegation. But to this day, they will not admit her real age. They will not say that she's 15 and that because if that's the case, you could go back 4 years and realize that the pictures that she's putting on Instagram of an 11-year-old is absolutely and utterly disgusting. And I cannot believe that she's gotten away with this, that Jennifer has gotten away with this. The children that watch don't realize how bad it is. And likely most of them want to be just like her, which is one of the most, it's the scariest part of this entire story, that she's influencing like-minded girls to do this because they see her making millions of dollars, living her best life, and they want to do that, and is inspiring a whole group of girls like Piper Raquel's case to do the same thing. And parents are, it's inspiring the girls and it's inspiring their parents to do the same thing. And that's scary.
And, the allegations continue to be revealed in the Danielle Cohn case. We have it, Westmost and I, from our reporting, and you're probably familiar with this too, that the mother, Jennifer Archambault, encouraged Danielle and her then older boyfriend to make a sex tape because she thought it would blow up and garner views and clicks and profits. And that would, we think, go beyond the Romeo and Juliet laws of having an older teenager with a younger teenager. That is statutory, notwithstanding the child laws.
Well, honestly, I did not know that, to be honest with you. That's something that I was unaware of. I do know that there is a OnlyFans style thing that she is on. That is, I know that there's not been anything released that would be considered, like, it's flirting with the line for sure. But there is the issue that she did have the boyfriends come live with them. And a lot of, there's speculation that she's controlling their lives. And in that circle, in Danielle Cohn's circle and in the Piper Raquel, they're kind of all sitting in the same universe. They are trying to get some of these kids to emancipate from their parents legally, and they'll pay the legal fees because it's very lucrative for their channels. And in Danielle Cohn's case, she has, I think her boyfriend at the time would have been 17. She got pregnant at 13, terminated her pregnancy, and then was forced to do a video on why she did it while her mom is behind the camera filming it. This 13-year-old who is now has everything exposed to the internet. And as you know, there's tons of opinions on that, regardless of where you stand on that. That is not appropriate for a 13-year-old to be dishing out that kind of detail
No, and
on the
it
internet.
lives forever, by the way.
Yeah.
It lives forever. And so when that child is suddenly 21 and has to deal with that for the rest of her life, what impact does that have? And was it worth the money that she likely never saw that her mother did get?
I think, and eventually you're going to see something massive go down when she actually turns 18 in 3 years. We're going to see a massive either lawsuit or some kind of thing happening between them, because she's the moneymaker. Her mother is just using her to make the money. And there's been allegations that she's squandered $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 on certain things. That is all, if you think about it, it is all Danielle's money. But her mother has access to the purse strings because Danielle's underage minor.
Right. And Michael Weist, who was, the manager in this situation for a while, talked to us, did an interview, and essentially backed that up, saying that Danielle had come to her and said, look, I've got missing money. And that was the figure he cited, $200,000 to $300,000. And the pimping of this poor young woman continues into a fan's website where anybody can pay to buy her feet pictures, her sexually suggestive cleavage pictures on order. And here she is now 15. This has been going on for years. And the way we understand it is, there are predators on these sites.
But I mean, that's where they live. That's the predator's legal way of accessing this information. This is where they can get it, and it's legal.
So what's it going to take? Guys like us to continue shouting about it, to keep reporting on it, and finally get it to a critical mass where YouTube pays attention? I suppose so. I guess we try to get, the U.S. Senate or Congress involved and have some hearings or push some buttons. I mean, here's what I don't understand. How come Child Protective Services is not investigating some of these cases? I mean, how hard could it be? You have video evidence, right? It's not hard to get.
I've asked this question multiple times. I've had lots of people who work for Child Protective Services come on, and the unfortunate answer is that their hands are tied because there are way worse things going on, like kids who are starving, kids who are actually being beat, kids who are homeless, and it's true because a lot of these kids, unfortunately, it's the long-term ramifications that are the most dangerous for these kids, and you can't see the short-term because they're living their high life. A CPS agent pulled, and they have been called. Danielle Cohn has 30 open cases with CPS, something like, it's insane. They have been called. And the case is, they walk up to this mansion. They see that there's Range Rovers and Rolls Royces in the driveway. They open the house. It's got professional cleaning and gardening people. And they go in and they're like, oh, this looks good to me, because that's what they are held by. They are held by a standard that says it looks good to me. They're not allowed to use the video evidence or anything like that. They're not allowed to put that into consideration. That is something that needs to change in the law to give CPS more teeth to say, look, we've got proof. Now we can do it. They can't act on social media proof as far as I'm aware. They don't see the long-term ramifications because we actually don't have any long-term ramification data, except for the shows that we've seen, like John and Kate +8, 19 Kids and Counting, and all those the roll-offs with the Little People Big World. All of those people are now coming forward to say, this is the worst part of my life. I hate it. I want to be forgotten. We're seeing it now. And I think in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see a massive explosion of this is going to be not okay. It's going to be socially unacceptable to do what they're doing. And that's what we have to make this shameful. We have to say to these people, it is a shame that you're doing it. It is shameful. And then they might, if you can't monetize it, they won't do it. That's the end of it. If you can't make money, they won't exploit.
Josh Barber, I'm going to stick with you on this. I appreciate you coming on the show and having a seat with me. Continued success to you. And I appreciate everything you do. And we'll have you back on very soon.
Chris, I appreciate you having me on. And yeah, let's keep talking about this. The Piper thing's going to explode. It's going to be huge.
Done and done. Thank you, sir. Keep at it.
Okay. Cheers.
Josh Barber, everyone. Michael Weist is a social media entrepreneur, a producer with vast experience in the recording and documentary world. He represents influencers who have a combined total of more than 400 million followers. He also worked with Danielle Cohn for some period of time, and Michael is kind enough to join us to give us his insights into this very vexing issue of children online and who's exploiting them, and are they getting their due, and are they properly protected, and really what's going on in this fast moving world. Michael joins us from Nashville. Michael, thanks very much. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Chris.
So let's go back to the beginning. I have so much to ask you, but how did you first cross paths with Danielle Cohn?
So I met Danielle years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago. Just we've worked together through various events. I cannot remember where, whether it was playlist or some social media event, I'm sure, but recently started working with her after an event in Miami that I invited her to, and then she invited me back to her house in Florida and kind of went from there.
Did you actually act as her manager, and what were you able to do for her?
Yeah, I would say to a certain extent, yes. I had every intention of like signing Danielle to an exclusive 2-year agreement, and was under the impression she was not working with anyone and was open and capable of providing services, if you will, under that agreement. So as such, I began to just kind of be that person that was already being asked to do all of these things, but just kind of embraced it and was like, you know what, maybe it's for the best. I can help this family, etc. While working with Danielle, we ended up doing a couple different projects. I was shot recently the Ford Bronco campaign. She was supposed to star in that. For whatever reason, she didn't actually be a part of that. And I think we had a crafts campaign, all of which, like, these brands would come back to me and say, we will not work with Danielle, which was like really shocking when she's arguably one of the largest creators with like 30 million followers.
And why wouldn't they work with her? Is she difficult? Is she immature?
I didn't know why.
Unreliable?
All the above, but I didn't know why. I think that they would just be like, oh, we're not interested in working with Danielle Cohn. And I'd be like, oh, she literally has 30 million followers. Why would you not want to? And then as I got more like connected to the family, I think I learned really quickly why. Jen would always complain that Danny was making like $400 for a TikTok, which with 19 million followers, that's like insane. And I was like, Jen, number one, why are you letting her do this? Like, are you just have no desire to turn brand deals away? Let's think about your value and remember that. All of which were like red flags. And then the more we began to work together, the quicker I realized that like it didn't matter what it was. It was just about getting money, frankly. So I don't know. It's rather interesting.
What do you suppose, and you know this industry pretty well, what do you suppose Danielle Cohn has earned over her short lifetime?
Traditionally, you would assume a substantial amount. She is literally one of the largest creators on TikTok and the social media space. She's been around for years. Someone of her stature should be set.
10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million. What do you think?
Well over 6 figures. I know she did a Target campaign in her younger career. I was told she made 100K from. I was told, I've seen some of the bigger deals she's done in her early career. I was also informed that she cannot work with Target ever again because of like everything associated with her. But when she was young and fresh and had a clean image, if you will, she was getting 6-figure deals. So you would assume that continues to happen. As Jen starts to tell me they're having money difficulties, I very quickly questioned how, because they should be set. So I assumed Danielle had this very large trust account set for her the day she turns 18. Then I started to notice, like, I was told they were buying Mikey, her boyfriend at the time, a house in Florida, which she told me they were paying $25K a month for. They bought all these jet skis. There was a new Range Rover in the car, all of which just kind of like catapulted into a conversation that I ended up having with Danielle, in which she was like, yeah, I don't know. I like looked at my account once, there was 300K in it. And then I looked next month and there was 10K. So I don't know what happened. And that was like really concerning. And
so she's been at this since she was 10, 11 years old.
Yes. And I thought she's been at it since she was like 15, no. I think she's literally been doing this since she was very, very young. And it makes sense when you look back at her videos. You can see she looks young. And I don't know why. I just like, Jen would say, well, she got on birth control, so she looks different now, which I think might be intentional. That's maybe why she's covered in tattoos and piercings, so that she appears to be older, which is almost like counterproductive. Today, most influencers want to be younger because the audience keeps getting younger. But it's like too far gone, I guess, in the lie.
What does it say about Jennifer Archambault, the mother of Danielle Cohn, that she was behind this exploitation, really, of her daughter, putting her on social media, sexually suggestive, if not explicit, content, pictures, material, stories, at least allowing her to be involved with men who are older.
I think it speaks for itself. Like you saying that says all it needs to say. I like, perhaps I was raised differently, but I was very taken aback enough to like obviously say something and try to bring awareness to this. And it was witnessed by multiple people. They've always been really like secretive, and everyone that ever comes in their life then is immediately out. And I was always like, why is that? Like, the only person that was ever recurrent was Jen and Mikey. And after speaking to Mikey, it's because Danielle said she would ruin him if he ever left. And he didn't. He was lied about her age in the beginning too.
Tell me about this documentary you were shooting with her. What did you find out? What did you capture in the documentary as far as you took it? And why did you cease shooting? And well, give me an example of something that alarmed you, Michael, that made you say, well, I can't put this in a documentary.
I mean, it wasn't necessarily even that. It was like the power dynamic that I even had with very large streaming services who were interested in partnering with is like, this girl is whatever age she says she is, and it is her house. Jen is literally her, you know. So like, Jen has the guest room, Danny has the master bedroom. Jen buys Danny cars, but it's literally Danny can't even drive a car. So it's like a very weird power dynamic. Jen's like, I'm going to take your phone when Danny's literally paying for phone service. Very weird.
Is it common for brands like Bang Energy to partner with underage influencers like Danielle?
No. And Jen all the time would complain to me that Bang dropped their contract from $8K a video to $400 a video. And I was like, okay, well, if that's the case, why are you still doing it? Which leads me to believe that there's some contract forcing them to, or there's no other source of income. I don't know. But like, Danny has to promote Bang, but it has to be caffeine free because she's under 18. So it's a caffeine free drink. And
is Danielle Cohn being exploited, perhaps
100%.
criminally, by Jennifer Archambault, her mother?
100%. There is no doubt in my mind that Jennifer is in some way exploiting her daughter, and borderline, I would argue, abusing, even emotionally, not necessarily physically, although I've seen it get intense. There is no doubt in my mind that the reason Jen has had all of these, she told me she had 30 CPS cases and that everyone hates her and just wants to take Danny
30
from her.
CPS cases. And this is by her own admission.
That's what she said
Child
to me.
Protective Services.
Yep. And that the reason they don't take her away is because she doesn't do anything wrong. I don't know. I have no way of like seeing that information. But there is definitely a reason that there are 30 or there have been, and there needs to be. I wouldn't have agreed to do this if I didn't think there was a cause for concern. I do care about Danny. I don't want to see her hurt. I know that even now, I know the day she turns 18, she is going to have an epiphany of no other when she realizes she thought she had all this money and literally has nothing left because her mom's been spending it on her childhood. And I think that probably happens a lot. And the problem is like, there is no legislation in this industry for creators as a whole. It's something that like I've been very passionate about, talk about in my book. We have no protections, no rights, no laws. When an influencer can go out and just say, this person raped me, and then hundreds of millions of people see it, believe that's the word of God, and there's no repercussions for that, that's a problem in itself. Like, the advertising, social media has no legislation or protection for creators. You know, what option does Danny have besides losing her mom and her house if she calls CPS? There's like no easy answer, I guess.
And what do you think about social media platforms like YouTube? At some level, are they complicit? TikTok, YouTube?
I mean, to a certain degree, I would argue yes. TikTok, 100%. At some point, capitalism and morals maybe not go hand in hand. You know, like, where do we draw the line as a society when you're going to look up in 20 years and it's like going to be very, very dystopian when everyone's self-worth is predicated by how many likes they get on Instagram. We have to do better as a society. We the people need to hold these platforms accountable or they never will change. And that's like, we have to do it now.
As we wrap up, Michael, with you, what do you say to Danielle and Jennifer? Come on.
That's a great question. I would like to say reach out to my attorney so we can resolve this. I encourage you, Danielle, to think for yourself and to seek truth. Jen, I encourage you to perhaps get some perspective and pray. I think a lot of self-reflection would do them well.
Michael Weist from Nashville, thank you very much for having a seat with me. I appreciate your insights. Let's stay in touch.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Speak soon. Deborah Danielson is someone who has a lot of experience in the world of family fame, if you will. She and her daughter, Farrah Abrams, were stars of the show Teen Mom and Teen Mom OG on MTV. Now, the rules for teenagers, children in television are a lot different, as you'll see, than the rules and laws in place for kids who are social media influencer stars. But I thought it would be interesting, we all did here at Have a Seat with Chris Hansen, to have Deborah Danielson have a seat and tell us about her experiences, both good and bad, at MTV, and get her take on what's happening now in the world of social media and kids and teens. Deborah, thanks for being on the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great, and it's good to be here. And I'm glad I get to share firsthand real experiences, and I can talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly.
So how did you first get involved with the MTV show with your daughter? How did that all come about? Take me back to that time.
So what is interesting is, my daughter Farrah indicated that she wanted to go to acting and modeling school. She had this passion. So we enrolled her in a well-known modeling agency out of Chicago. During that time, she did very well and was very well received for her modeling and, her presence, her photography, all of this. So when it came time to graduate, she says, "Oh, Mom, I'm pregnant," and this happens in today's world. So we went back to the modeling agency because it had cost $7,000 to put her through this program. And the modeling agency went back and they came back and they said, there's no advertisements we can do for, pregnancy or all of these other print commercial modeling opportunities. There's nothing like that going on right now. However, there is an interesting opportunity that was just posted for an unknown network, and they are doing a pilot and they're looking for 6 girls. So there were like 3,000 applicants. And after about a 3-4 week process, we had to send in a video. We had to tell the story, what we went through. And basically, because, we were one of the last 6 girls chosen, our family got to tell the story of how unwanted teen pregnancy affected my daughter's life, her future, and her career aspirations, and the family. So that's why they did the whole family and included the family.
Was it worth it at the end of the day?
I would say yes, it was worth it. However, there are long-term everlasting consequences, and we're not speaking today. So that's very sad, and I miss my granddaughter.
So you are not talking to your daughter Farrah today as of this interview? And is that because of the experience with the show?
I would say the show created an atmosphere of entitlement, that a person could do anything they wanted to do without regard or respect for their family or their parent. And so it created almost a monster situation.
So because of being on the show, you have no relationship with your daughter, Farrah, and by extension, your grandchild.
Correct.
That's a heavy price to pay. That's a heavy price to pay for fame, Deborah.
It's heartbreaking.
So again, as many protections as might have been in place, as much as you cared for the best interest of your daughter, was it worth it?
And I have to tell you again, it is. And why do I say that? Because my story relates to a lot of people who are going through the same thing. These are people that are silenced. You don't hear about it. And a lot of these people suffer in silence.
What toll did this take on your daughter?
I think it really made her suspicious of other people. It hurt her. It damaged her self-image. And it put a fence between her and her family.
Have you followed the cases of Danielle Cohn and Piper Raquel?
I watched all of the stuff about Danielle, and I must say, the question that came to my mind was, why aren't the fans turning these people in to TikTok and TikTok shutting them down? You know, I'm a TikTok creator, and I know they have strict content, and I know they have strict rules about all of this, and I know they'll take them down in a New York minute. So I would encourage people to let them know, and I would encourage people to keep up, you know, complaining, because I know these social media platforms want to do the right thing. I do know that.
What do you say to Danielle's mom, Jennifer Archambault?
Shame on you. Shame on you. I would work 4 jobs minimum wage before I would do that to my daughter. Yeah.
And yet there are people maybe who would say something similar to you regarding the Teen Mom MTV experience.
Nope. I never exploited my daughter. I tried to help my daughter. I threw myself in front of the bus. I don't even know how many times. And I never took anything, not one dime ever. And I had to pay for things in the background, and I financed everything. So nope, it's a totally different scenario. I'm a retired executive. You know, I didn't sit at home and, you know, wonder how I could pimp out my children. I never did that.
What do you say to a mother who's considering managing their child and prompting them to be involved in TikTok or YouTube as an influencer or content creator? What's the biggest cautionary thing, the most important critical thing you could tell a parent?
I would say to a mom, if you love your child, you will protect your child. You would teach that child how to have a respectable content and still be able to be on social media, but to do something innovative, fun, creative that makes the world a better place. You know, anybody can go seedy and anybody can go low. I would challenge them to go higher. That's what I would do.
Do you think you'll ever be able to repair the relationship with your daughter?
I pray to God that my daughter is happy and healthy, and I do want that relationship to be happy and healthy. And I want to be able to hug her and hold her and tell her I love her. That's very important to me. And I want my Sophia to know that she is still the sparkle in my eye, and I will always love her, and I miss her.
And final words, Deborah, to parents of teens currently trying to be content creators and edgy influencers on social media. What do you tell them? What's the most important thing you can tell them as we wrap up here?
First of all, I love your passion to be creative, and I encourage that. The world needs beautiful singers. They need rappers. They need actors. They need all kinds of talent. Don't take the low road. Don't just put out, you know, sensual content, but go for something that's super creative, funny, entertaining, and something that makes the world a better place. That's my recommendation.
Deborah Danielson, thank you so much for having a seat here on the show. We will stay in touch. There are other topics I want to discuss with you, but I appreciate you weighing in with your experience on this very important topic. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris. I enjoyed it.
Speak soon. Daniel Warner and Reyes Mohammed are lawyers who specialize in all things related to the internet, including slander, and they've been on the show before to talk about some of the varying issues that we discuss here, and I want to welcome them back tonight. Guys, thanks for being with us. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, Chris.
Hey, Chris, nice to be back.
Thanks for being here. You know, you look at this case with Danielle Cohn, and by all accounts, you could argue that this young woman, now 15, for years now, has been exploited, essentially pimped out by her own mother, Jennifer Archambault, in a very, very almost abusive way. You've taken a look at this. You're familiar with some of the videos. It starts off with her being in sexually explicit pictures and the exploitation of that. It would seem that there is legal liability not only on the part of the mother, but multiple parties here. But let's start with that. What liability is there for a parent who's exploiting their child online in this way? Daniel?
It's very questionable legally. Without a doubt, morally, it's absolutely repugnant. It's inappropriate. And me, I just don't understand how someone would do that.
Well, it appears the reason why somebody would do it is because it's very profitable. They're making a ton of money by having people click on this young woman. And when you take a look at some of the ways she's been exploited on sites, you know, that are viewed by people with subscriptions, these are adult men who are paying money to view feet pictures, breast pictures, I mean, covered breasts, but, you know, cleavage pictures. And this girl is unquestionably underage.
You know, it's my understanding that it doesn't have to be, to constitute child pornography, it doesn't have to be obvious, right? If it's something that's going to elicit what they call is the period interest, basically perverted, sexual in nature, then it could fall into that category. And that's what it sounds like to me. I mean, they're putting this content out there. They know it's going to incite some of these more or less, for lack of a better term, perverts. So, I mean, that right there, I think, hits the nail on the head as to why it would.
We're talking about a case here, Reyes, where a former boyfriend is saying, and we have reason to believe this, that the mother, Jennifer Archambault, was encouraging Danielle Cohn and this boyfriend to have sex and make a video of it to exploit it. Is that not conspiracy to be involved in statutory rape and commit violations of child porn laws?
Yeah, I'd love to hear Dan's thoughts in real time. I mean, my opinion on this, professionally speaking, is mom's got some answering to do. I don't see why a child protective service should not be in their home right now asking questions about why this is going on and why this is not child abuse.
And what about the responsibility of YouTube and these other social media platforms? It would seem that they're allowing this, facilitating it to happen.
This is my problem, Chris, with this, because on the one hand, YouTube has taken the position, and Google has endorsed it, obviously, that you cannot advertise, that it violates the Child Online Privacy Protection Act to gear your advertisements and track the actions of somebody that is under the age of 13. Well, what about content that is clearly reprehensible, that depicts an underage female for money, meaning it's sponsored content that mom is okay with it, notwithstanding that this is content that is objectionable or should be. So again, we care more about the advertising side of things, right? The platforms seem to care more about the advertising side of things than the side of the discussion where this is borderline child exploitation, child pornography, aiding and abetting.
Why would YouTube allow this?
Well, it's more eyeballs, the better.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, I think Section 230 is the problem. You know, that's part of the problem, because that's the huge shield here that they always hide behind, and it gives them complete immunity to do whatever they want. They pick and choose what soapbox they want to jump on, whatever particular day, and that's the problem. And interestingly enough, there was a recent amendment, I believe, to Section 230 regarding sex crimes specifically, and it had to do with Backpage, I believe, this website, and they were doing that. The child trafficking, I think, was the issue. So potentially there's a way in to on that exception to Section 230 that could potentially hold YouTube liable and all these other platforms that always take cover behind Section 230.
Based upon your knowledge of the law as lawyers who work in this field, has a crime been committed here?
I would say so, yes.
And what crime do you think that is?
Well, I think there's the exploitation angle to it, as we discussed, and then there's also potentially a statutory rape. I mean, if the mother, and I don't know too much of the facts, so I want to be careful with what I say, but as I understand it, the mother was encouraging the young child to have sex, and that's just not okay, right? I mean, that's definitely aiding and abetting the statutory rape and a bunch of other just disgusting stuff.
And Reyes, what about child porn?
Yeah, I was just you took the words out of my mouth. I think there could be a case here for child pornography or sex trafficking. I mean, sex trafficking, the statutory sort of framework for sex trafficking involves sexual exploitation by coercion, whether that's by fooling somebody or using some other form of coercion and force to engage in some sexual conduct against their will. I mean, this could be, the internet's version of sex trafficking.
Oh, I think you're right.
And if you look at the statutes too, there's actually language about simulated in sex, especially for children. So it doesn't have to be actual nudity. You can have some type of simulated or, whatever images, and that still constitutes a violation of the statutes.
And take being a lawyer or a journalist out of it for a minute. As a parent, I mean, what happens to this young woman when she ages out and the money's not there anymore? What happens? What is her future? That's what I worry about. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us. Daniel Warner, Reyes Mohammed, lawyers who specialize in this field. We hope to have you back on again soon, and thanks for your insight.
Great. Thanks, Chris.
Wes, there's so much to unpack here, and I get the sense that we're really just getting started in terms of the reporting of this massive, massive story. Other people have already told us they will speak out, and we'll have details on that very soon, right?
Yeah, that's true. And that's the important thing to remember is there are lots of Danielle Cohns out there. There would be 1,000 parents who would step forward to put their child in that same position, because in the end, it's the money that they're making. They're not worried about the future.
And when Child Protective Services comes knocking on the door, if this activity is reported, as we saw in this show, they don't see the kind of violations they normally act upon. So it goes without any sort of investigation typically, right?
Well, according to my sources, anytime there was a CPS investigation, they would leave on a vacation. Anytime it looked like things were getting a little hot. Maybe they would move from one place to another. But when CPS is showing up, they're used to seeing the worst of the worst. No food, no water, just complete neglect. So if they show up and there's a girl that some people are saying is this age and some people are saying is that age and she's dressing inappropriate online, they're not seeing her in imminent danger right now. So they're going to wrap up to go help, someone who, as they can see, is very visibly being neglected and harmed, rather than this one where you're planting seeds that 10, 20 years from now, who knows what will happen to Danielle and Piper and these other people who are being raised as celebrities before they're old enough to drive.
So much more to come on this, Wes. As always, thank you very much for the collaboration. I appreciate it. I will see you soon. Thank you for joining us here on Have a Seat with Chris Hansen. As I said, we will continue our reporting on this very, very important topic, so disturbing in so many different ways. In the meantime, I'll be watching. I'll see you on my podcast, Predators I've Caught with Chris Hansen, available on all platforms, Cameo, and more Predator investigations soon on the TV. Thanks again. I'll be watching and listening.